Pack your bags and your feelings, books fam. We're headed to the Amalfi Coast with One Italian Summer by Rebecca Serle.
This one's got grief, magical realism, a whole lot of pasta, and one seriously emotional mother-daughter journey.
We're talking time travel, self-discovery, and that classic Serle style twist that has us rethinking everything.
So grab your Aperol Spritz, and let's get into the sunshine, the sadness, and the soul-searching.
I'm always up for an Aperol Spritz.
I'm not. I think they're gross.
I love them so much.
I wanted to when they came out because they're so pretty.
They are
And then
really
it was
pretty.
like the thing, and it just is like a vibe that like you really want to evoke. But the first one I had, I like almost spit it out. Like it's just too.
Do you like other Spritz, like a Hugo Spritz?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't like Aperol.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's the problem.
It was like Spritz in general is the vibe,
Yes,
not
absolutely
yeah.
love a spritz, but not Aperol spritz. But
Okay.
I will do like a prosecco spritz, a
Yeah.
gin spritz, a combo, if you will.
Oh, sounds so good.
Yes. So we are here to take a metaphorical trip to Italy.
Yes. I wish it was
Um,
real.
I know. Well, I will say, and I know technically, like, I'll probably say this again later too, like, her book did such a stunning job depicting exactly what Positano and Amalfi are.
Yes.
I felt like transported back to Positano because I went there in 2017 with my mom and aunt, and like, I just like remembered that trip so clearly, especially with this. And I was like, everything she's saying is like so spot on. And I was like, I miss it so much.
I know that part really was romanticized and you felt like you were there for sure.
Yes. And I didn't know what Hotel Poseidon like looked like before. I didn't really look it up until after. And it looks very Amalfi, honestly, like
I
all the
was gonna say I didn't
open.
either, but even the way that it was described in the book, that's how I envisioned it.
I just kept envisioning my hotel,
I don't have one to
which
envision on a
I know,
coast, so
which is actually referenced in the book. Lucia News is where we
yeah.
stayed. So
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
I
shout
know.
out.
Made me think of you.
Um, but I was like, this vibe is great too. I mean, it's all kind of the same vibe. It's just like more of like which side of like Positano you're on. And then I also dropped for us, which like no one else can see, but the Path of the Gods. This was like I had a very different image in my head than like what I was Googling.
I did too.
I was like, "Oh, this is, like, serious." And
Yeah.
I know that they always were like, "I'm out of breath," or like this, that, and the
There's
other,
all
but
these steps, but I wasn't expecting it to look like this.
no.
No.
And I get it now.
Yeah.
I do get it. So,
They're just casually doing that every day.
yes, which, I mean, is probably why they're in better shape than we are, but
That's why they could have all the pasta and all the food
yes.
and
Well, so when we were there, we at some point, I think, asked or we, like look, I don't know, somehow we came across this information because we were, like, eating, like, huge pasta meals, like at least 2 meals a day, like,
yeah.
not breakfast, but, like and I was just like, "How do people do this?" And they were like, "Well, in Italy, like, people who live here aren't eating pasta, like, every meal, every day
Right.
because like, you're here." Like, they at least the restaurant that we had, like, chatted with someone about this with in, like, that region, like, Sunday dinners were kind of more the big, like, "Let's all get together and do the pasta,"
Right.
whatever, like, it was more,
The large
um
family courses.
yes, like,
Yeah.
the true family style, and that was kind of when they, like, so they weren't, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like, eating pasta, like, all the time. But, of course, if you're visiting, like, I'm not gonna not eat pasta
Right.
when I'm there. Especially they have pastas that don't exist here. So, like,
Yeah. And the
I have
pasta's
to
just
eat
way
them.
better. I still dream about the pasta I had in Italy, so
Yes. Also that.
I wanna go back.
Yes. I, like, debated booking an impromptu trip while reading this, and I was like, "That's not responsible." So I did not do that. But, spiritually, I wish I was there. So, quick synopsis of this book because there really wasn't much depth to it. Not a spoiler, the main character, Katie, her mother dies. It's literally page 1 of the book.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into this later, but she had a large attachment to her mother, Carol.
Mhm.
The two of them had planned a trip to Positano because Carol had cancer, so it was supposed to be, like, the light at the end of the tunnel. So, Katie goes on this trip alone, and as soon as she gets to Amalfi, she feels her mother's spirit, and so Katie feels herself coming back to life, which I have feelings on that I will discuss later on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then plot twist, her mom does appear in the flesh and, like, 30 years old. Katie doesn't understand what's happening, how, but all she can focus on is that, like, her mom is back
Who
and
this woman is.
yeah, who
Yeah.
this woman is, like, her
Version of her
mom.
mom because she's 30, not
Yes,
yeah.
not however old she was.
Right.
So then over the course of this book, Katie gets to know Carol not as her mother, but as the young woman with her, before her. And so basically it's like Katie is reconciling the mother that she knew with the young woman who, like, doesn't quite have all of the life knowledge yet that Katie, like, knew her mother to have. And that is
That
the
is that
book
is
in a nutshell.
yeah, that's the gist of it.
That is the book. So there's Katie Silver is our, like, primary female main character.
Yeah.
Carol Silver is her mom,
Mhm.
and then I call it young Carol.
Oh, yeah.
It got hard.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
young Carol was like 30-year-old mom.
Right.
Then there's Adam, who was like the single hot man that she met at her
Just
hotel.
there. Yeah.
Well, he's like a
He's traveling for
developer.
yeah.
Yeah, he works for a hotel company. It's a whole
The
thing.
yeah, development for hotels, and so sh
Yes,
it's one of his favorite spots, and yeah.
rightfully
I
so.
was like, I mean, yeah, if I was looking at hotels,
Obviously,
that's where I would end up, but
I would constantly be going back there. But plot twist, Katie does have a husband named Eric hanging out for her back home
just
in
like
LA.
golden retriever, very kind.
Film exec for, like, Disney. I
Yeah.
was like, "Girl,
Yeah.
hello."
Yep.
Welcome back to that. And then the hotel staff was, like, really adorable. So there's Marco, the owner,
I did like them.
Monica is his daughter, and then slash Nika,
Yes.
who's, like, young Monica,
Right.
and then Carlo, who is just, like, a supportive.
The one running around and making
Yeah,
sure
he was
everyone's
just, like,
loving their time there.
always yeah. And then there were others, but I feel like those were kind of the 3
Yeah.
prominent, like, their names came up the most, like, I don't know. It was a lot of, like, Katie, and I just, again, feel like we'll kind of get back to, like,
Yep.
softer. Genre-wise, like, contemporary fiction, chick lit. I don't know if magical realism counts as a genre.
I don't know if it does either, but I think it's safe to put in here because it is something if you don't
I just
if
didn't know
it's
if
not
it
a
should be a
genre, it's a
theme.
theme, so it's
Yeah.
one of the 2.
So that's there because there's a plot twist. I don't know. We might have I don't know if it really even, like,
Well, no, it's not a plot
is.
twist because
Well, it was to me.
what I'm saying is the plot twist of, like, her mother coming along, we know that her mother is gonna come along, and that's, like, the
Yes.
magical realism that you know right
Well,
away.
I guess at first, I thought she was just, like, emotionally dumping
Oh,
and
I did
projecting
too,
onto
but that
some other lady named
right.
Carol, and I was like,
No, I
"Get
did for
rip,"
majority of the book, but that's still magic, like,
I suppose.
yeah. It's like she didn't exist in that actual
Yeah.
time.
So those are the genres. The themes, grief kept coming up, which, like, it's not a theme, but it is absolutely not at all how I was hoping or wanted to see grief portrayed.
Correct. Yeah, and it definitely is grief, but we'll get into more of our thoughts on the grief. I don't wanna get into it too much here
I
because
know,
then
it'll
it'll
derail
spiral into
immediately,
everything else.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So grief, mother-daughter relationships, which is fair, like, a central theme is the complex and evolving relationship between Katie and her mother.
Yeah.
Magical element allows Katie to see her mother as a person with her own dreams and struggles, not just as a parent. debatable, which again, we'll come
Mm.
back to.
Yeah, yeah.
I did think it was interesting, in one place I looked, it had the setting as the theme because it said that, like, the backdrop of Positano and Amalfi served as more than a setting.
No, it
It
does.
really was, like, a character
I
in
would agree with
itself.
that.
And yeah, like
Sometimes a setting doesn't have as much purpose, but in this case, it is a theme, and it does move the plot along, and it helps you
yes.
connect to their experience.
Well, and I think she needed that setting. Like, I think where she ends wouldn't have happened somewhere else. Like, I think she did finally accept, like, the slower pace and, like, going with the flow, like, those kinds of things, and Positano is so like that, like,
Yeah.
it really was, like, almost a behind the scenes, like, character in its own way.
This next one, tropes, I will just
Do you
tell you,
appreciate my commentary?
I didn't even look at this ahead of time, so, I hate this.
I went infidelity, and then I just said I can't take any other trope seriously, i.e. self-discovery. She didn't discover anything except what a useless lump she is, and I firmly stand behind that.
Yeah.
Like, there was no self-discovery. She was, like, emotionally trauma dumping on like, we'll get more into that, but I think technically there were other tropes. Like I said, I honestly disregarded all of them because I disagreed with all of them so much except infidelity. I was like, "Yes, this one,
Yeah.
absolutely."
Yeah.
And then
If you like this, then you'll like
I
I
mean,
think
I
this
think
is we shoulda just used words for all of these because I really don't know if it's any books, but
that's why well, I honestly had to Google because I was like, I just don't think anything compares to this, but according to Google, it was like, if you're a reader of Abby Jimenez, Carly Fortune, Emily Henry, Annabelle Monahan, like, you'll most likely enjoy this book, or if you really enjoyed The Wedding People, you would like this. I put if you like Delusion, then you'll like this book.
and I think that's where, for me, it would lie a little bit more because I have read a lot of the other books, and the character just didn't fall for me the same way those characters do.
Yeah.
So,
I just have
I
a
don't know.
lot of questions because on Goodreads, so it had a 3.59 rating on Goodreads, which I was like thrilled to see it was no higher than that. There were plenty of reviews that were on like our wavelength. There were other reviews that raved about it, which transparently I did not open because I was really uninterested in that POV, which makes us very one-sided. But I just want to know, like, what people have been reading where they read this and gave it, like, 4 or 5 stars and were, like, gushing about it. Because I was like, "There is no character development here."
No.
Like, truly the only redeeming thing about this was the way she wrote about Positano and the food.
Correct.
I was like and I think someone else said this in a Goodreads review, it was like, it felt like the author went there and really just wanted to, like, write a book about it, because it's like a love letter to Positano, which is fine, but then write, like, a travel guide or just write about your time there as your own experience, but, like,
Yeah.
this was, like, so underdeveloped.
So, at the end of the book, that is pretty much what happened.
Yes, she included the emails, which I thought was so tacky. It was giving, like, early 2000s outro of people, like, giggling in the studio, and they, like, stick it on the end of their song.
It was in 2020, which I was like, "Makes sense."
Yeah. So I also was finding a thread of a lot of people saying, like, they were let down by this because I guess Rebecca has another book in 5 years, and people said that book was so wonderful.
I haven't read the book, but I have seen I think there's a movie,
Idea.
but I'm sure it is good.
Well, I was like, I would be curious. I don't think I'll read that anytime soon because I am, like, traumatized by this
Ye
book, but
No.
I would be curious at some point if I ever remember this to, like, read it and see what the differences are because the people saying that were the ones giving, like, lower reviews of this book, being like
So it seems more realistic that it wasn't like,
yeah,
"Oh, this
like
is a 5, but so is"
yeah, they
yeah.
weren't just they were like, "I've read her other books, especially this one, it was so, so good, and I came to this, and I feel really let down." So I was like, "That is interesting." And then very candidly, I was not compelled to, like, root around much more for discussion because it was a nothing burger,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So I was like, I honestly just don't really care what, like, the hot takes were.
I don't think there was probably more hot
I
takes.
don't
I
even
mean,
know there was no depth to this
yeah.
story. Like, that was what a lot of the reviews were saying, like, there just was, like, no depth to, like, the character. Like, she left her husband seemingly for no reason, was like, "I think I want a divorce," and then just, like, jets off to Positano without him.
Okay. I, from the beginning, could not get over that because I was like, "Okay, there is one thing." Like, I have read books where someone's like, "We're going through a hard time and I'm grieving," and they read everything she was saying about her husband. It seemed like this wasn't about her husband at all. It is a difference if you actually are falling apart, if you do actually need to find yourself and you are divorced. But I was like,
Absolutely.
"You literally just out of nowhere, like, I'm
She
gonna
was
go do
mad
this."
that he showed up at her mom's shiva.
Yes, and again, let's just bring up that, her husband is not new to this family, he has been around for a
No!
very long time, he
Like,
has moved
12
closer to her
years!
family,
Like, it wasn't and he kept just being like,
and he still
"Can we
understood
work on
her,
it?" Yes, like, he just was like
and the whole entire time, she had nothing really positive to say about him.
my ideal when I read, like, the first chapter and I was like, "Okay, we're starting off, like, she's grieving her mother," who they were, like, seemingly
Yes.
very close. We'll come back to that in a second. I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, she's gonna go on this trip, like, she's having an existential crisis in her marriage, great. She's lost her mom, this is gonna be such a self-discovery,
Self-discovery,
self-growth
yes.
moment, like, she's either gonna work it out with her husband or we're gonna find out some egregious reason why they shouldn't. She's gonna learn how to finally just, like, be her own independent self and, like, just all this stuff," and it literally, like, went the complete opposite direction.
Right,
She, like, fueled her codependency issues with young Carol, which again, at the time, I was like, whether it's actually your mom or not, like, you are now just, like, projecting all of your emotional trauma onto this woman who literally has no idea who you are.
right,
Especially as it went on and on, like, she kept being like, "Well, my mom did this or knew this," and, like, young Carol, like, doesn't, and then kept trying to, like, skew her, and I was like, "Let young Carol live her life." Like,
right.
she can make her own decisions, she should make her own decisions. You actually need to learn to make your own decisions. Like, if you read this book, you would think Katie was, like, a teenager with the way she, like, approached critical thinking and, like, the life skill set she
This
had.
was the part that was really hard for me when it came to her. It doesn't even seem like a teenager. I have always been not like she's close to her mom, but, like, I've been close to my mom. My mom was close to her mom. That did not mean I did everything that my mom told me. That didn't mean that I didn't have my own personality and my own taste in clothes and music. Like, we're not the same person. And
No.
I was like, "What are you talking about? You don't know how to do any of these things. Then you never asked your mom, then you never challenged yourself." I
No,
was like, "Who
she
are these people? They
as
don't
a
even feel
30-year-old, I
real."
was like, "What is happening? You can't be alone for a day, like,
Yeah.
without panicking? Like, are you kidding me?" And then and every like, the people who weren't leaving, like, 4 stars on Goodreads had this gripe too, like, it was so insanely entitled for her to assume that, like, she was her mom's great love, like, superseding the dad, and I was
Yes.
like, "Excuse me?"
I was like, "Also, who thinks like that?" Being like, "No, my mom and I are each other's, like, greatest love, like, men are
Yes.
just here." And I
And
was
then I was
like,
so
"What?"
insulting to her husband too. I was like, "So
I was
you're
like, "He
telling"
loves you."
Yes. It was so crazy, like, the codependency she had, like, I just could not
There
get
were
over
so
that.
many other ways to, like, bring up that you're, like, have this wonderful mother-daughter relationship, and I've seen it done very,
Yes.
very well, and it's been super emotional, and that's kind of what I was hoping for, and I did not get any of that.
No, when
I
she
got frustrated, and I was angry, and I wanted to jump into that book and just be like, "What are you
the
doing?"
only person I was on the same side with was fucking Adam,
Yeah,
because he was calling her out being like, "You
okay,
need
but
to get a grip."
in the beginning, he started out and I think this is why she, like, stuck to him so quickly, is because she came out to the table and the first thing he did was be like, "These are the things that you should have. This is what you should do." He did change it very quickly. He's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't ask you what, like, you wanted." It's like, "Well, she doesn't know."
Well, yeah, she doesn't know what she likes without someone telling her. I can't remember what it was that he said. I should have written it down because he literally told her, like, "You need to, like, figure yourself out." And
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
basically that.
"Yes."
Yeah.
Like, she's
He's
so
like, "I know what I want, but"
"Do you?"
yeah.
Yeah. Like, it was so crazy, and she just, like, could never really articulate it ever, and I was just like, "You truly have no brain cells, like, not a one." And again, I was like, even just when, like, all of the buildup to Positano, again, I was kind of like, "This girl's a dumpster fire," but, like and then the first day there, she, like, kinda did fine, and then the next day when she was like, "Why am I here? I can't do this." I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be the breakthrough." Like,
Yeah.
she's gonna have this panic attack, she's gonna, like, sort herself out, and then, like, just went straight into, like, "Oh my god, that girl looks just like my mom, she has the same name, and now I'm just gonna attach to her like a fucking leech."
Yeah.
And stick with her the entire and she, like, panicked the one day she couldn't find Carol. I was like, "Bitch, Carol has her own life.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't involve you." And the
Right.
fact that you were, like, so hung up on, like, this person is crazy.
You know? And again, the I felt bad for feeling that way because I also try to be like, "Oh, well, there's this, like, grief element," but the book does not do a good job of making you feel like that's what's happening in that because it isn't. Like, she isn't trying to, like, get through any of her
No,
grief.
she
She's
never
just
processes it. She
yeah,
just is like, "Oh my god, this person's my mom, and now I just all my problems are solved."
right, right. And if she did never see Carol again and it just, like, happened before she was ready, like, that would've just I don't know what she woulda done.
She would've gone home, which is what she was, like, about to do in the first place, which
True.
is why I was so upset. I was like, "So you're just gonna throw in the towel at your first true test of, like, tenacity and grit.
Yeah,
Like, you're an awful person, awful person."
I know.
So I, like, hated her, honestly, like, she was not
Another
giving.
thing I was hoping would be is, like, maybe even, like, an eat, pray, love moment where she would
That's
just be
what
by
I was
herself
hoping
and she would be like,
for.
"I'm discovering
Yes.
this new place, I'm figuring out who I am, you're right, I didn't know who blah, blah, blah was," like,
That's exactly what I
all of
wanted and
that.
thought it was gonna be, and I was so excited, and then it was, like, the complete opposite. And then I was also so annoyed. Like, she was like, "My mom and I made this whole itinerary, I brought it with me," and I was like,
Did she follow it?
"No, she
Okay,
didn't."
I kept being like, "Oh, I was supposed to do this on this day, but I'm just gonna go and do whatever," and I was like, "What?"
Which is, like, fine, but, like, the way she kept bringing it up and, like, how special her relationship with her mom was, I was like, "Then why aren't you following the itinerary that your mom was, like, clearly passionate about? Like, go see the places that" like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Or shut up about the
Yeah, or don't
itinerary."
bring it up every
Yeah, or
day.
just, like, stop talking about it. Like, if you're not gonna do it, fine. Lock it up and move on, but, like, stop being like, "Oh, the itinerary," and then, like,
I
abandoning
know.
the itinerary.
Yeah.
Drove me up a wall.
Another thing, I was never mad at Adam, I really liked him as
No.
a character, but I was so angry about how their relationship developed, mostly because, like, again, it was one of those things where she was just had, like, one bad night and comes home and is just like, "Oh, now this" it's just, like, so frustrating to know that she talked about, like, her husband being like, "Well, he was here for this, and, like, he's this really nice guy," and then it's like, "Oh, well, he never treated me like this," which then later on she says that he does, she just forgot because she was sad. I don't know, I had a really hard time with theirs in particular, and I don't always have a hard time with it, I think it's because I just felt like it was so undeserved, like
People on Goodreads felt the same. They were like, "She literally, like, had sex with him basically immediately,
yeah.
like,
Oh,
really for no reason
and
at
then for it to
all."
be kind of like, "Oh, it was okay because it was the past?"
Yeah, I mean, people were really upset about the infidelity in general, which is, like, it's not a great trope to have,
No.
but I think people were equally upset that, like, there just was no rationale for it, like, at
No.
all. Like, they easily could have taken a platonic relationship, and I feel like he could have served her just as well as a friend
Yes.
versus, again, like
'Cause they could have still done, like, the traveling that they did, gone to the places, like
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
it was, like, so unnecessary and out of nowhere. And then I also got annoyed when she literally tried to bust into his business meeting to be like, "Don't do XYZ," and I was like,
Oh,
"Who do
yeah.
you think you
The end of
are?"
this book 1, you are correct, you put in here that it was rushed. I totally agree that it was,
So
because all of a
rushed.
sudden in the last, like, I don't know, 30 pages, I don't know, I felt like everything was happening where I was like, "Wait, what?"
Well, yeah, so spoiler alert, even though I think we've said it before, technically you find out that Katie has somehow traveled 30 years in the past.
Yeah, so everyone that she was seeing at the hotel, like, including Adam, like, they're all from the past,
Yes. So then, of
which is why, like,
course
these little things in the background that are happening, like, she can't get a hold of her
yeah, like,
husband and
he
stuff, it
doesn't
makes sense.
exist, like,
Yeah.
her mail gets returned because, like, whatever. But my thing well, some people were upset about the time travel because they were like, it was not well thought out because of, like, XYZ rationale.
Yeah.
But also she did the thing you're not supposed to do. She was like, "Don't sell the hotel, like, invest in Starbucks," and, like, giving them pro tips on the
Yeah.
stock market, and I was like, that's, like, rule 1 of time travel.
Right.
You're not supposed to, like, do that. They literally say it in, like, Avengers: Endgame.
I know. And then at the end, the way that she talked about her and her mom, you would think that her dad, like, was just this like, didn't really matter. But then at
Yeah.
the end, she's, like, having a conversation with her dad. Then you also realize through all of this that her mom did end up, like, becoming, like, part of his career. But,
Well,
like,
yeah,
there was,
like,
like, all these little things that I was like, "Okay, you were really delusional about your whole entire upbringing."
she literally thought the entire world and her family revolved around her. Like,
Yeah.
nobody could exist that didn't put her at the center of the universe. Meanwhile, her mom had an entire life before her, own thoughts and dreams, which, like, dawns on Katie finally at the end
Which
of the
was like,
book.
"Whoa,
Like, yeah, of course she
revolutionary."
does, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, to your point, like, she was on the phone with her dad at one point, and she was like, "Oh," like, she was so shocked he was, like, making food for himself, and I was like, "He's not helpless, you
Right.
dodo."
Ugh,
Like,
and then Eric, the sweetheart that he is.
flew out to Positano, yes.
Yeah. He was the only thing I liked.
He well, again, I liked Adam too because he, like,
Well,
tried to
true.
speak some sense into her, and
Yeah.
for that reason only. But no, Eric, I was like, there's nothing wrong with him." And even her, she was reaching so hard. She was like, "Well, we've never had a real, like, test of our relationship, so, like, should I even still be with him?" And I was like, "Why are you, like, asking for hardships?"
Well, also, it's like, okay, you are in one now. This is the hardship, and this is where you both are reaching out,
You're
and you
failing, he's
yeah.
not.
I was like, he is doing everything to help get you guys through this. I don't know. I it was such a weird portrayal of, like, grief because I didn't feel any of
I
that
didn't feel
as
any grief.
grief.
No, none of it was that's why when, like, self-discovery kept popping up, I was like, "There was no self-discovery."
Yeah,
I discovered she's useless, but that was it. She did not discover anything
yeah,
about herself. She discovered that her mom was a grown person,
right,
which is, like, innate knowledge you should have.
yeah,
But she almost even didn't even let that go because once she figured out, like, it was her mo whatever, she was, like, screaming at her mom for being in Positano instead of home with her as a child, and, like, "You shouldn't do" like, was literally trying to tell young Carol what she should and shouldn't do, and I was like, "You cannot keep imposing yourself on other people's lives."
right, and I was like, "Also, who are you to talk?"
Yeah, it was like, also, you just left your whole family, so
Yeah, you just left. Maybe, your mom went through similar feelings like you did. Like, don't just
yeah,
assume
like
that I was like, "She'll make her own decision, she'll figure it out."
she just seemed like she wanted everything in life handed to her because even about, like, her job, the way she talked about it, she was like, "I don't even know if I'll still have a job when I'm back, like, and I don't know if I" and I was like, "Do you care about anything besides your mom?"
Well, and then the other part that killed me is she talks about how she has this wonderful relationship with her mom. And then through this like grieving process, she decides that it's her mom's whole entire fault that she never learned anything because
Yes.
everything was done. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
I was like, "Let's not blame your mother for you
No,
not
like,
knowing how to do
take
literally
some
anything."
initiative.
I was like, "You could have asked or, like, been a part of that." I was like, "I bet you didn't even try to."
No, she absolutely didn't. Like, if your mom cooked all the time, just be like, "Oh my gosh, mom, like,
Yeah,
can I help?" Or like, "What's this like, will you teach me this recipe?" Like,
right. I
because I
mean,
think
even
didn't
with
she
my mom, like, I didn't learn a lot of the things till I was older, like, in terms of her cooking, but, like, I would do, like, prep stuff, so I'd, like, cuddle everything, and then I'd ask questions, and you
Mhm.
just learn. I was like,
Yeah.
my mom never was like, "Kaylee, come into the kitchen, and I'll show you how to
No.
do
'Cause,
this."
like, you don't know your kid could hate it, so why would you try to,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like, it's not on the mom to do all the emotional labor and the physical
No.
labor. Like, she's done enough. She's done enough.
This
Um,
book was emotionally draining.
yeah, because I was so
I was so
annoyed.
frustrated.
I
Ugh,
don't understand how this, like, made the rounds that it did,
I know.
like, why it got pushed. Like, this is truly horrific.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's the main character is so unlikable, and she has no, like, redeeming qualities. She does not grow. I still feel bad for her husband, and I think he should
yes,
leave.
and the
Yeah,
dad.
I was like, "Maybe you should have, like, gone back to the past and just, like, peaced out." I don't know. Like, she just
This girl was worse than the girl in Toddler's Assistant because she at least had some self-growth at the like, true self-growth at the
well,
end.
good.
It took quite some time, and I still don't think she fully grew into what, like, I wanted her to be, but, like, she learned from her, like, previous mistakes and experiences, whereas Katie didn't seem to learn anything from this.
No.
Like, I feel like she just was like, "Oh,
Maybe that she wants to still be married and go home, that's about
yes,
it,
she did bang Eric when he came to Positano, so,
and they
like
stayed a little bit longer, so
yeah. So, like, that worked out for her, but, like, after but even then, I feel like she still was just like, "Oh, he's here, like, all is well and safe now, like, I don't have to use my one brain cell that had turned on."
yeah. No, I felt the same way. I was really hoping that there would be, like, a huge piece of her that would realize, like, "Oh, I don't know any of it." It kinda made me think of, oh, what's the one with, Julia Roberts where she, like, gets married all of the time and only likes the same eggs that they like? Runaway Bride. And someone calls her out on it, they're like, "Do you even know what eggs you like?" And she didn't because she just, like, liked whatever
That's
they
Katie,
liked,
like, if
and that
her
was
mom
literally
didn't say
Katie.
it, she
Yeah,
had no clue.
right.
No clue.
That's what I kept thinking of. I'm like, "Do you know what you like at all?"
I mean, even Eric said that, like, in one of her flashbacks to, I think, their conversation about, like, children,
That pissed me off
and
too.
they were, like, chatting, like, privately about it, and, like, clearly he wanted kids at the time, and she wasn't quite ready, but instead of her, like
He even asked for her to step back and just, like,
well,
think
yeah,
about it.
they were like, "Can you think about it?" And instead of her articulating any form of, like, rationale as to why she didn't want children yet, she skipped right off to her mom,
Mhm.
like, chatted about it with her mom, who, of course, was like, "You're way too young, blah, blah, blah," and then Katie just went and word vomited that back all to Eric,
Yeah.
and even was like, "Oh, I went and talked to my mom," and he was like, "I thought
You
you were gonna think about this."
right.
And I was, like, so annoyed at that too. I was like, "You wouldn't ask someone else their thoughts on you giving birth from your body?" Like,
Right.
it doesn't matter what anyone else's opinion is except for, like, you and your husband.
And then, like, if she already was someone who had her own opinion and just wanted to, like, talk it out, like, that's one thing, but she's not. She
Yes.
literally went, "Mom,
No.
what do you think I should do?"
Yeah, like, she had no opinions herself,
'Cause,
and it was so
if she was just
frustrating.
like, "Oh, yeah, like, I really don't wanna have kids right now, and, like, let's have this discussion again in a couple years," like, that would've been fine,
Well,
but
and what would be really intriguing to me is because this is told from, like, Katie's point of view, and she's, like,
delusional.
delusional, codependent, attached to her mom. I would be so curious, like, if there had been a brief interlude of, like, the dad overhearing the conversation, like, what the conversation really was, because I'm wondering sometimes if the mom was like, "Have you considered?" Or, like, "You should think about" you
Right.
know what I mean? Like, the mom could have been phrasing it as more just like, "Have you thought about this?" Or, "You should consider this aspect," but Katie just took everything out of her mouth as, like, gospel. Like,
Right.
"Well, my mom thought this or, like, said this, so, like, this is the way it is."
Right. Yeah.
I gave this book 2 stars solely because of the Positano
Mhm.
writing.
Yeah. That's pretty much was like 1.75 to 2. Like, it
It would have been a 1 star if, like, Positano hadn't been in there.
right. Because the description of, like, the scenery and everything was gorgeous, and
Yeah.
but Katie, girl,
The rest of the story, awful. Just no depth to anybody, honestly, really, at
no.
all, and then just no character arcs for
Right.
anyone. Like, it was so surface level,
Yeah.
which is why I'm like, you could tell she really just wanted to write about Positano.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Right.
and, like yeah.
Yeah, my I it took me way too long to finish this book. It's not that long of a book, but I would get through, like, a couple of sentences, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It
Yeah.
was really rough for
I think I read it in 2 sittings.
which is a lot for you.
Yeah.
Probably was, like, 6, maybe more, because sometimes I'd open, I'd be like, "No." And I would just go and watch a show because I was like, "I can't."
So, anyways, I don't recommend this book, but
I don't either, but that doesn't mean it won't be for you. It just definitely was not for me, and what I was expecting it to be at all.
I just wanted something so much more, like, grittier and, like, so sensationalizing, and I didn't get any of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and I want that time back.
I was thinking that this book would potentially make me cry. I mean, I did cry, but not for that reason. No, I didn't actually cry. I
I didn't
just
think it would make me cry, but I did at least think it would just be more emotional,
yeah.
and it was emotional negatively,
Right.
just my
No.
own feelings,
Right.
but so
That's all we've got.
that's it.
It's all the room we have in our brain for this
Yeah,
book.
I just, like, can't expand any more energy.
No.
That's a wrap for today. Make sure to follow us on social media at Girls Gone Reading Podcast to keep the bookish combos going.
Until next time, happy reading.